My hair looks weird today. Alright. I'm back. Let me know if you guys can hear me in the chat room. Alright, cool. Alright, wrestling just ended, so it's time to talk about stuff completely unrelated to wrestling. If you want to ask any wrestling-related stuff, or other off-topic stuff of that nature, please save it until the end, because we got 3 comic book geek-type shows to talk about first. So please stay on topic, so when I'm talking about one show, don't ask me about another show until the end, because that helps me keep things straight with my ADD. So anyway, let's get this show rolling. Starting with, oh God help me, The Flash. You already know where I'm going with this, don't you? The Flash. Season 3, Episode 22, Infantino Street. Cisco finds out that Argus has a power source that can power the speed cannon thingamawhatsit. But because Lila is actually smart enough to not give it to Barry, he decides to steal it. So because Argus have a metahuman power dampener, and no one on Team Flash thinks of asking Lila if Iris can just hang out at Argus for a while, where Savitar can't get to her because of said power dampener, he recruits Captain Cold to help him steal it. Now, how he knew where the hell to find Captain Cold in Siberia many years in the past is head-scratching, but that's the least of this episode's problems. So Barry and Snart break into Argus. Really, really easily. Like, insultingly easily. They don't manage to steal the device, but then Lila just gives it to Barry anyway because a smart character can only be on this show for so long before the stupid infects him like it infects everybody else. Meanwhile, someone on Team Flash actually had a brief bout with competence and decided that maybe they should hide Iris on a parallel Earth where Savitar can't reach her. So as long as nobody tells Barry where she's hiding, that would mean that Savitar won't know where she is either, and they'll be home free, right? Well, one would think so. But then HR just spits out where Iris is to Savitar pretending to be Barry. Savitar breaks Wally's leg and makes off with Iris, setting up a finale where Cisco fights Killer Frost, which would feel a lot more dramatic if he hadn't already fought her and beat her just a couple episodes ago. And Barry confronts Savitar with the speed cannon. But Savitar has the Philosopher's Stone, which counters the speed cannon, and he kills Iris. I'm torn on this episode. On the one hand, it sucks for all the same reasons this show normally sucks. But in a weird way, I have to kind of appreciate it because of that ending. They actually went and did it. Now, I don't believe for a fucking second that they'll actually follow through on this. It's pretty much a given that they'll do some kind of take back next week and bring Iris back to life somehow, because they don't have the balls to kill her for realsies. But even if it was just temporary, like just for the cliffhanger, they actually did go and kill her. And at least I'll always have that. But before the good thing happened, there was a whole lot of stupid to get through. Let's talk about that, shall we? You have to love Barry being so completely oblivious that he's actually surprised when Lila says that she won't give him this alien technology that Argus confiscated from a Dominator ship. The technology that generates more power than the sun? That thing? He's surprised when she doesn't just hand it over. And because Lila's awesome, her response to this is fucking perfect. Like, is this because of baby Sarah? No, dumbass. It's because you've proven yourself to be a reckless, irresponsible idiot who can't be trusted to handle incredibly dangerous technology powerful enough to blow up a fucking planet. I'm paraphrasing, but that was basically her answer. And with that, Lila becomes the best character in the Arrowverse because she's the only one who refuses to kiss Barry's ass or thinks he's the greatest thing ever. I mean, they fucked her up at the end, sure, but seeing her put Barry in his place right there was glorious. So Barry decides to steal this thing. Now, he could just go to 2024, get the completed speed trap, and bring it back to the present, which would be easier and quicker, but then this episode wouldn't have a plot. So he just doesn't think of that. And Argus have a metahuman power dampener, so he can't just super speed in and steal it that way, so instead, he enlists the help of Leonard Snart. Now, how the hell he knew where and when to even find Leonard Snart, I have no idea, but he finds Snart somehow and convinces him to help. I guess because Snart is a good guy again due to events on Legends of Tomorrow or something, and he just decides to help them out of the goodness of his heart, apparently. And they're going to break into Argus and steal this thing. Here's a crazy thought, Barry. Instead of doing this unbelievably illegal act that by all rights should land you in prison, why don't you ask Lila if she can just house Iris at the Argus facility for a while? They've got the power dampener, so Savitar can't get to her there. Can't get to her. Like, did no one fucking think of this? Of course not. So anyway, Barry and Snart have to break into Argus. And this is hilarious because outside of impersonating Lila and forging a fake ID, they literally have no plan at all. They don't even know like all the security checks they would need to get past the front door. They don't even know where exactly in the building this device is. And the really crazy thing is, they don't even need a plan because apparently Argus's security is almost non-existent. I'm not even exaggerating about that. They knock out one guard at the front door and then they just walk right in. There's literally no other security at all that we saw. I mean, there is a fancy door with a lock that, according to Cisco, costs $10 million, but Snart bypasses that thing in like 20 seconds. So I think Argus should ask for their money back on that thing, because that's $10 million fucking wasted. It's downright comical how easy it is to break into this place. I even wrote in my notes here, like, does Argus not have security cameras? Because they're not even wearing masks. But actually, the thing is, I went back and I rewatched that scene when I was getting screen caps, and there actually are security cameras there. So either the cameras weren't working, or Barry and Snart just didn't think of doing something to conceal their identities in case they were caught on camera. Just saying, that's a pretty big fucking oversight for Snart, who's supposedly a master thief. So either Argus were incompetent, or Barry and Snart were incompetent. Or it was all three. I'm pretty sure it was all three. So, just to be clear on this, a device that generates more power than the sun, and yes, I'm going to keep repeating that because of how absolutely ridiculous it is, more power than the sun, powerful enough to blow up the entire goddamn planet, and the only security it has all the way up to the actual containment chamber is one fucking guard and a camera that may or may not have even been working. Seriously, Argus, when your security is so bad that Barry Allen, of all people, can pretty much just walk right in, then you suck at security. This show is so fucking stupid, you guys. They make it so easy for me. This is almost like picking on a mentally disabled person. Oh, God. And, yeah, okay, and, all right. All right, let's be fair. Okay, they do have King Shark actually in the chamber with the device. I guess that counts as security. But it also strikes me as unbelievably stupid and dangerous. A device that unimaginably powerful and you put an evil giant mutant shark person in there with it? Nothing to prevent him from touching it either. It's just sitting there. Not behind, not like a big safe or anything. Okay, what if King Shark just goes nuts, gets sick of solitary confinement, and decides to smash it to put himself out of his misery and blows up the planet? Did you fucking think of that? Of course not. So anyway, Barry and Snart get to the chamber insultingly easily. They break in insultingly easily. They put King Shark to sleep in a way that actually kind of makes sense. So give Snart credit for that one. Thank you, Shark Week. But then security finally kicks in, and the door seals, leaving Snart trapped inside. And they spend a couple minutes debating what Barry should do here. Should he leave with the device or try to get Snart out somehow? Meanwhile, the alarm is going off, and it is taking Argus agents a shocking amount of time to respond to this. Alright, if I have a device that powerful under my protection, I'm putting guards in a position where they can respond to any alarm in seconds. Like, if a pigeon lands on the fucking roof, I want guards to be able to respond in seconds. Because if there's any fucking chance that this pigeon poses a threat to this device, I want that pigeon fucking dead. And I want guards to be able to respond quick enough to shoot that rat with wings out of the fucking sky. But it's actually like 2 minutes before any security arrives to stop them. Why is Argus security so fucking inept? This is embarrassing. And I don't mean embarrassing for Argus, I mean embarrassing that the writers actually thought this was good. But Cisco does some hacking and Barry gets Snart out before he's shark food. And then not only does Lila may I is Captain Cold, a wanted criminal who just tried to steal potentially world-destroying technology from her. But she just lets him leave. Doesn't try to arrest him or anything. I mean, sure, she's a government agent and he's a wanted criminal. No, she doesn't do anything, just lets him walk away. She also gives Barry the device. And this makes sense because, you see, before, she didn't give it to Barry because he's a reckless, irresponsible idiot who couldn't be trusted. But now, he's a reckless, irresponsible idiot who can't be trusted and who just partnered with a wanted criminal and tried to steal from her. So she just gives it to him. Because naturally, you can see how well that would make her... I hate this fucking show. Oh, Jesus Christ. By the way, how the hell does Lila just hand something like that over? Doesn't she have superiors in the government that she has to answer to? Like, can you just picture her like walking into the Oval Office and trying to explain this to the president or something? Like, hey, Mr. President, you know that gizmo that's more powerful than the sun that we confiscated from those aliens who abducted you a few months ago? Well, some dudes tried to steal it. We stopped them from taking it, but afterward, I just gave it to them anyway. Because, well, no reason, I just felt like it. And then the president just glares at her, and he's like, Lila, you're fired. Seriously, how in the bluest of blue fucks does Lila possibly keep her job as director of Argus after this? This is absolutely fucking asinine. But I'll tell you something that's actually not asinine, however. HR actually has the idea to hide Iris before Savitar kills her. I have been saying this for fucking months. And none of them ever thought of it. Finally, at the 11th hour, somebody brings this up. So at least HR suggested it. Finally, give that guy a gold star. And then they actually decide to hide Iris in a parallel Earth. Where Savitar can't reach her. Wow, imagine that! Another thing I've been saying they should do for months. They finally thought of it. For a second, they're actually acting intelligently. Intelligently here. It doesn't excuse them taking so long to think of it, but better late than never, I guess. And since Savitar remembers everything that Barry does, all they have to do is not tell Barry where Iris is hiding and they're home free. So the second Barry asked where Iris was hiding, they really should have known that something was wrong, but to HR's credit, even though he's stupid and he lets it slip, he has the good sense to feel like an idiot about that afterward. Add that to HR kissing Tracy, and he's probably going to die next week. So Savitar gets Iris, the speed cannon doesn't work on him because the Philosopher's Stone negates it somehow, and he successfully kills Iris, thus ensuring his own creation. Somehow. And this really didn't make sense to me. Okay, at what point he says to Killer Frost, if Iris doesn't die, I'm never born. Okay, why is that? Exactly. Right? Eddie killing himself didn't stop Eobard Thawne from being born. For all the sense that made. And he just gave this big speech last week about how the more you time travel, the less the rules apply to you. But now, he absolutely must kill Iris in order for him to be born. Why is that such an absolute? Like shouldn't it be less certain now? After all the time traveling this guy has done, shouldn't his creation be less dependent on Iris dying? I mean, you just fucking said the rules don't apply like they should, and now you're acting like they do. But, I mean, hey, stupid me, expecting the show to actually follow the rules it established for itself. I mean, it's never done that before. Why would it start now? And yet, they actually did go through with it. They went and killed Iris. Now, are they going to pull the mother of all cop-outs and bring her back to life somehow next week? Yeah, probably. And it'll most likely be something unbelievably stupid, like Barry running around the world so fast that he reverses the rotation of the Earth and suddenly she's alive again. But for 1 week, I'll be able to go into the West Island tag on Tumblr and watch all the fangirls completely shit themselves in abject horror. And you really can't put a price on that. I just have one question, though. Where the hell was Julian in this episode? He just disappeared. I mean, the time comes around when Iris is getting murdered, and they need all hands on deck because they've been trying to prepare for this for months, and Julian is just not there. Nobody's asking where he is or anything. And my browser just reloaded. Oh, my nuts. Yeah, okay. So where the hell was Julian? I don't know. It's very strange. So, yeah. The ending put a smile on my face. The scene where Savitar abducts Iris is actually pretty good. But overall, this episode sucked. One more to go, guys. Just one more. And then I'm free. Okay. Good God, somebody finally said for Iris to get the hell out of town. It only took them 22 episodes to think of it. I know, right? Like, shouldn't that have been like one of the first things they thought of? Nobody even suggests this, even puts this forth as a possibility until like an hour before she's supposed to get killed. God. These people are so fucking stupid. Cheetah name on the wall was cool. It would be great for her to be the big bad next season. Dude, I'll settle for any kind of big bad as long as it's not another evil speedster. We've had 3 evil speedsters in a row. Yeah, they gotta come up with something new. Well, to be fair, we don't know if the power dampener would stop someone like Savitar. He's not a normal human, and his speed powers are way out of control. Out of control how? He has the same powers as Barry, and the power dampener worked on Barry. I actually kind of like this episode because even though they set up all those attempts at stopping Savitar, they managed to go full bore with him. Yeah, they actually followed through on that. I'm absolutely expecting them to do a big fucking take back, a huge cop out next week. But hey, they did go through with it, at least for 1 week. I developed a problem with this episode the second they revealed that Barry couldn't use his powers at Argus HQ. Wouldn't it be the first place to pop into your mind to take Iris in order to keep her safe? Yes, thank you. I also like the scene where Savitar fooled them because I kind of see where they were going there. They saw him from behind, he was too fast, 3 steps ahead. Yeah, but that's something they should have anticipated. Like, if they tell Barry where Iris is, then Savitar knows where she is too. They should have just... I'm just saying, if they were smart, they would have just kept it a secret. Yeah, and at least HR is kind of just... he feels terrible about this later. He's giving himself a lot of shit, like, I was so stupid, I can't believe I just blurted it out, oh, God. So at least when HR fucks up, he has the good sense to feel bad about it afterward. Barry just kind of skips over that part. Only thing I liked about it was Captain Cold. Yeah, I wonder why Julian wasn't in this episode. Yeah, me too. Kind of weird that he just vanished and his absence was never addressed. It's like, Julian who? I don't know. They never brought him up. I think they may kill her for real and bring Hot Pursuit back, or at least I hope so. I doubt it. I'd love it if they did, but I really don't think this show has the balls to kill Iris for realsies. If it was Arrow, they might do it. But I don't think The Flash is that kind of show. We'll see. I can also see how Lila got off giving them the power thing at the end, since I can think of some excuses to make that could go over. Since I can think of some excuses to make that go over with the government, not go over well, but it would work. Please share, because I can't think of any excuse she could give her, give the people she answers to, that could possibly explain why she would hand over the the device more powerful than the sun to a wanted criminal and the Flash, who just tried to rob Argus. If he couldn't be trusted with it before, how can he be trusted with it after he just tried to rob Argus? How does that make him more trustworthy? And even on general principles, how can she just hand over something like that? I mean, if it's anywhere near as dangerous as they say it is, then that thing should never see the light of day again. It's too powerful for anybody to have. Common sense doesn't come forth in the CW universe sometimes. Most of the times these days. Emergency Awesome loves this show. I don't get it. Look, I like Emergency Awesome. Look, I like Charlie. I never met the guy, but he makes he makes content that a lot of people like, and I can't fault him for that. I think him saying that an episode was awesome is probably going to get him more views than saying it was god-awful. Because, generally fanboys are going to want to watch people who agree with them, I guess. I would hope that he's just doing it for views and not being truthful, because I don't know. I don't know how you can watch an episode like that with an A-plot that inept and call this good. That entire robbing Argus sequence was just fucking embarrassing. So because of that, and because he's often saying that, oh, this episode of The Flash was awesome and whatever, man, I can't support him. I can't support him anymore. I got nothing against the guy personally, but I can't support him if he's going to say that about The Flash, because that is that's wrong. This is not a good show. Well, in fact, the King Shark was in the room, kind of acts as security. Realistically, any other thieves would be his dinner, not successful. Yeah, but how is King Shark in any way trustworthy? How do they know that King Shark, this giant lumbering mutant creature, can be trusted to not just smash the fucking thing? Okay, King Shark is in the room, but who's protecting the device from King Shark? I mean, it's not like he's a guard dog or something. He's a sentient thinking person. He just looks like a big crazy shark mutant guy. Right? Am I wrong about this? Even if you trust him to guard the thing, okay, so what? It still shouldn't be that easy to get to the door. All they had was one fucking guard. And a $10 million door that opens in 20 seconds. Generating more powerful than the sun is impossible for an object on Earth. Yeah, but this is an object from the Dominators. Although this is a world where they have batteries powerful enough to generate electricity for an entire building that are smaller than when the battery is smaller than an iPhone. So they're obviously not hanging their hats on anything even resembling real science here. Energy generation requires radiation, hence why the sun is radioactive. We're a long way away, so that is okay. But if something like supernova were on Earth and that's more energy than the sun, then we'd all be dead from radiation by now. Yeah, okay. I think we very clearly established that the science here is kind of bullshit. So I guess we're gonna have to cite comic book science on this one, or we'll be here all night. To say nothing that if this device was ever breached or something, the entire solar system would be devoured by a black hole formed in its place. Yeah, not something you want on Earth. The joke about the $20 million lock cold broke so easily was funny, though, admit it, dude. Not really. It didn't make Cold look badass, it made the door look ridiculous. It was an okay episode, better than I expected, 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10? Seriously? Well, to each their own, I guess. Okay, where the hell was I? Can't use common sense, it messes with the plot for The Flash. Ain't that the fucking truth? I don't understand why people actually believe that The Flash is the best superhero show on TV. You know, I've run into a lot of people like that. I tend to think it kind of depends on the viewer. I think a lot of these people are just looking for something that they can just turn their brain off and enjoy, and look at all the bright colors and shiny things, and hey, look at that cool action sequence, and they just want mindless entertainment, and they don't want to think too much. And so it's all right. Yeah. Flash usually does action very well, so it's mindless schlock for the mindless masses. So they know the audience that they're catering to, and they know what those people are going to enjoy. I guess you have to give them credit for that much. But it's not done well. There's so many problems with this show that they're not addressing. They never bother. None of these writers should still be employed. They're terrible. But now, as long as the fanboys and fangirls get their cool action sequences, they don't care. They don't care if there's a million plot holes. They don't care if nothing makes sense. Really depressing. Oh, come on. Gonna drop this show, too? You're running out of shows, dude. What if Arrow has a bad season? Maybe Troy Legion. Who knows? Is Barry gonna cause another apocalypse to save Iris? Oh, I don't know, man. Would they really have the audacity to do 3 in a row? Think about it. Okay, season 1 finale. Barry causes an extinction level event. Season 2 finale. Barry causes an extinction level event across multiple dimensions. Across the entire multiverse. How on earth could they possibly top that? He'd have to cause some kind of extinction level event so massive that the entire universe, every universe and the entire multiverse would be at risk. I don't know how you do that. The doohickey that HR used to hide his face will be the cop-out. Possibly, but that would mean that I guess him and Iris would have had to switch places. And him acting... And maybe he gave away her location to fake Barry on purpose. And him pretending to be, like, torn up about that afterwards was just an act. I guess it's possible. I don't know if HR is that bright, though. I don't know. Yeah, I do think that face changing Gizmo is probably going to come into play in next week, though. I don't think you're wrong about that. If she kills the guards, they're not witnesses, and she can just say that Argus was robbed by the evil Captain Cold and his cohorts. No witnesses, no worries. That's one option. Yeah, well. Yeah, but Lila isn't Amanda Waller. She's not going to kill guys who are just doing their jobs. Like, that's something Amanda Waller would do, and actually did do in the Suicide Squad movie. But, Lila, she doesn't want to do that. I cannot... I cannot forgive or condone her actions in giving Barry the device at the end. But she's not so horrible that she's going to murder her own employees. Or those guys working under her, whoever the hell they are. It's filmed, but they can be destroyed by Cold's friend using a cyber attack. Rather ruthless, but a word. Let's see. Either that or Barry stops himself from saving his mom. Like erasing Flashpoint, similar to the Justice League Flashpoint animated movie. Yeah, he could just go. He could just go back in time to the season 2 finale and stop himself from creating Flashpoint in the first place. He could have just done that. This is why I'm always saying that these writers shouldn't be doing time travel stories. There are so many loopholes and plot holes and things to be explained, and they're not smart enough to do it right. They're not smart enough to anticipate all the ways these things can backfire and go wrong and just become a confusing fucking mess. I have to wonder what all this time manipulation is doing to other worlds now that we know it can. The Dominators must be upset right now. Yeah, I think that the more you do it, the less the rules apply to you is meant to kind of excuse that away. Because now they don't have to worry about Barry causing alien genocides anymore. Now they can just say the rules don't apply so they can do whatever. It's lazy and stupid and bad writing, but I think that's what they're going with. Oh yeah, the Thanagarians. They must be pissed right now. News today, another Fortnite crossover this fall. God help me. Oh, okay. Alright, enough of that shit. Alright, moving on. My browser is acting weird, so if something fucks up here, that's probably why. So I had to recently I had to download a new operating system to be able to continue streaming, and this new one is irritatingly buggy. Anyway, Arrow, Season 5, Episode 22, Missing. Team Arrow's feeling of relief now that Adrian has been captured is short-lived, as one by one they start disappearing, and Oliver is pretty sure that Adrian is the culprit. So, with his entire team and his son being held over his head, Oliver has no choice but to team up with Malcolm Merlyn and free Adrian from lockup. Luckily for him, as we learned this week, Argus's security is kind of embarrassing, so this is a pretty easy task. Ironically, there's more security guarding Adrian than there was guarding the planet destroyer. So, Oliver figures out that Adrian and his people, which now includes Black Siren, is taking his team to Lian Yu. So he enlists Nyssa, and the three of them take off. But that's not all, because the situation is so desperate that Oliver decides he needs a little more backup, and he figures he might as well ask Slade Wilson, because Adrian has really pushed him to that place. Pretty straightforward episode here. This was all about Adrian turning the tables and Oliver discovering how desperate he has to be, how desperate he has to become before he starts compromising himself in order to take this lunatic down. To his credit, he lasts a while before he figures out he has no choice but to free the guy. And to the writer's credit, they had it be Adrian threatening Oliver's son that pushes him over the edge, and not Adrian threatening Felicity or something stupid like that. And they're back to teasing the Olicity thing pretty hard now, so don't act like that wasn't a possibility, right? Don't act like that didn't cross your mind. For the record, I'm not here for Olicity anymore. I liked them in the first 2 seasons, but their relationship and their breakup was so poorly handled, and quite frankly, Felicity has become a lot less charming in the last few years, and now I'm just over it. I want less Felicity, not more. Anyway, the weird thing about this episode is that it was straightforward almost to the point of predictability in regards to Adrian's plan. Because once you know what's happening, you kind of know what's going to happen. You can kind of see it happening. You figure, okay, we're going from A to B to C. All right, now I guess the sun is getting brought up now. And everybody's getting taken by Team Prometheus. Where the surprises come in is how unexpected people show up on either side at different times. Malcolm Merlyn showing up is a big shocker. We haven't seen that guy at all this season. I don't know if he's on Legends of Tomorrow still or whatever, but I don't know. I'm not watching that show. Yeah, and this guy changes sides more often than the Big Show, but if Thea is in danger, that means he's a babyface this time, and and Oliver can count on him up to a point. Black Siren shows up on Team Prometheus, another shocker. It is kind of ridiculous that Argus apparently didn't even realize she was gone until Felicity asked them to check her cell. Again, no security. So I guess Argus is taken after Team Flash and how much attention they pay to their prisoners these days. But it's a cool moment when she confronts Quentin. Although, it draws attention to the fact that she's been around for months now and no one on Team Arrow ever bothered to tell Quentin about this. No one ever told him that his dead daughter had an evil doppelganger locked up at Argus. I mean, yeah, he was going through a tough time, but did they really think this was never going to come up at all? I mean, still, cool to see those two interact finally. I'm looking forward to that dynamic because Quentin seems to be able to get through to Black Siren in a way that the others couldn't. We see a little bit of her humanity peeking through there in their scenes together, so it'll be interesting to see Black Siren being conflicted about what she's doing here. So I guess that redemption arc is kicking off now. So I'd like to see that. So that's good. Oliver recruiting Nyssa is another cool moment. Another surprise since it's been a while since we've seen her. I haven't seen her this season. We saw her last season, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But by far, the best moment was Slade Wilson. That one had me cheering. We say all the time how Season 2 was and is Arrow's best season, and Slade Wilson is the main reason why. Well, one of the main reasons. Because the two of them just had a dynamic that Oliver hasn't really had with any other villain before or since. No one else has really measured up at the end of the day. So to have Slade Wilson back for the finale as a sort of ally, no less, feels really special. I have no idea how Oliver is going to convince him to fight with them. He'll probably dangle freedom in front of Slade's face, but I'm excited to see this. One weird thing about that, though, it does make sense why Oliver wouldn't call Team Flash for help, because they've got problems of their own right now. But if he's this desperate, why not call Roy? Wouldn't Roy be less of a flight risk than fucking Deathstroke? I don't know, maybe Roy forgot to charge his phone and didn't pick up or something. So anyway, they have a lot of great reveals here. The episode kind of hinges on how all these go over, and pretty much every single one of them lands. The tension is built up really well, with Oliver's desperation pushing him to do some crazy things and partner with some questionable people because he has no choice. But I kind of love the team he's assembled here. He's working with his former big bads from season 1 and 2. That's actually really cool. So, really strong episode here. They lost some momentum with last week's episode, but I feel like they got most of it back now. But now that I've seen what they did with it, Prometheus letting himself be captured and locked up, I don't think they needed that. I mean, he gets locked up only to escape the very next week? I don't think that was necessary. I think they could have taken that out and not really lost anything. I mean, at some point, him being able to orchestrate all this stuff to such an extent starts to feel a little implausible, but whatever, I guess it's not a big deal. So I got a hair in my throat or something. I thought this was a strong episode. It set the stage really nicely for a big finale. You had Oliver teaming with a bunch of his former enemies to battle his current enemies, with the fate of everyone he cares about hanging in the balance. That's the makings of a really explosive finale. So you did good on this one, Arrow. Well done. It's a downside of having long hair again. Get a lot of hair in my throat. I feel like I've had one back there for weeks. Next week's episode should be good. Dinah versus Siren, Nyssa versus Talia. Oh yeah, that should be interesting. I had a feeling Prometheus was fucking around last episode when he surrendered. Well, if you didn't think he was screwing with him when he surrendered, you knew it at the end of the episode when he had this huge grin on his face. Like that they're bringing back Deathstroke. Hell yeah. This episode of Arrow is kind of simplistic but very complete. I thought it was excellent, frankly. They're bringing back Deathstroke the Terminator. Yay. Yeah. That's a good one. It's very simple and straightforward, but also that doesn't mean it's bad. Far from it. Prometheus, Black, Siren, Talia, and Artemis. Is it just me, or does this team seem way more badass than Team Arrow? I guess that's why he needs Slade, Nyssa, and Merlin. Badass? Well, Prometheus and Talia, sure. Artemis... I don't see how she's that much of a badass. I mean, we've barely seen her since like about mid-season. She turned on Oliver, and then she had a glorified cameo in one other episode, and then we never saw her after that. Black Siren, last time we saw her, she got punched out by Felicity. Her badass cred is gone. Marked out when Oliver asked Slade for help. Merlin was, of course, awesome. That guy hasn't aged a day. What the fuck is he, a Highlander? I don't think he's that old, really. What is he, like 40-ish? Like 40, like mid-40s, maybe? It's not like he's ancient or anything. This is going to be a way to kill off Slade, in my opinion. They want to use the character in movies, and we know what always happens to the TV counterpart when the DC Warner Brothers wants that. I really hope not. I really hope not. Thought this was very simplistic but well written. 8 out of 10. Arrow has done better, but this was hardly a bad episode by any stretch. Agreed? Probably going to find out that it was the 1-2 punch of losing Quentin and Oliver that pushed Black Siren to the dark side. I hadn't thought of that. Yeah. I guess it would make sense that Quentin would be the one that can reach her then. And yes, Merlin is on LOT as a villain there, but he's also helping Flash's evil twin, basically, but they changed history so fascism rules the world, or they did it changed back, but... No, wait, you know what? I don't care. That's Legends of Tomorrow. It sucks. Merlin suddenly being a good guy now, kind of out there. I don't think so. The guy changes sides like other people change clothes, and he does care about Thea. He always has. I mean, he has a twisted way of showing it, but he doesn't want her to die. He's very protective of her, so if she's in danger, he's going to want to help her out. I'm shocked that no one told Daddy Man about his daughter being cloned in a parallel universe. Kind of a thing you want to have voiced to the to the man, in my opinion. Yeah. I guess the short version is they just wanted it to be a surprise when she confronted him for the first time. But yeah, they really didn't have any... They could have at least had the other members of Team Arrow having a conversation, like, should we tell him about Black Siren? Should we just keep that to ourselves? Because the poor guy's got a heart condition, and he's been through this several times now. I mean, how many times have his daughters died and come back to life? It's been a bunch of times now. Maybe he might not be able to handle another one, you know? If they just had a conversation like that and brought stuff like that up, I would have bought it. If they just decided that not telling him was the better course of action. But them not even addressing that was weird. Let's see. Also, when the fuck is Arrow's son gonna grow up and become a vigilante like the comics? They can't just do a time skip of 5 or 6 years, hire a teenager, and go with that. Well, they'd have to, because he's like, what? Like, what, 10 or 11 now? Time jump is really the only way to do that. You call that long hair? I have a ponytail a foot long. Well, this is long hair for me. Normally, I like my hair short. But for me, this is pretty long. Most of the time I cut it before it gets to this length. But I don't know. Last year I let it grow longer than it's ever been before, and I don't know. I figured I might try that again. We'll see. Who does a better bad girl, Danielle Panabaker or Katie Cassidy? I'm gonna go with Danielle Panabaker. Just as they give her the pale makeup when she goes Killer Frost. I like pale girls. Pale girls are hot, so I'm gonna go with Danielle Panabaker. Thoughts on CM Punk being offered $1 million on the UK indie show? They must want him real bad. I don't think he's going to do it. But hey, I mean, they make a compelling offer. But yeah, I think Punk's done with wrestling. Danielle is hotter, ironically. How is that ironic? I agree, she's way hotter. Anywho. Oh yeah, hotter because she's the cold villain. Yeah. Okay. I see what you did there. Anyway, moving on. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4, Episode 22. This is the Season 4 finale, World's End. Spurned by Fitz and sporting the powers of a number of different Inhumans, Ada is now on a massive revenge kick and wants to use the Darkhold to destroy the world and make the framework the new reality. But her machinations with all this evil magic stuff created a doorway through which Robbie Reyes was able to return to Earth from whatever hell dimension he'd been trapped in. So he meets up with S.H.I.E.L.D. pretty quickly, and they join forces to take Ada down. But a lot of damage has already been done, as the Superior and some LMDs have met with some government aficionados, painted S.H.I.E.L.D. in a really negative light, and then framed Daisy for the attempted murder of Talbot. And since Daisy is kind of the S.H.I.E.L.D. poster girl right now, as well as the public face of the Inhumans, that's bad news for everybody. So with the team basically fugitives now, they're racing against the clock to stop Ada and the Superior and their LMDs and save Mac and Yo-Yo from the framework, which is rapidly disappearing, all before the government catches up to them and takes them into custody. Now luckily, Coulson's a wily SOB and he knows a thing or two about setting a trap, so they lure Ada in by using Fitz and the Darkhold as bait. Excuse me. And then Coulson finally takes her down by after making some kind of undisclosed agreement with the devil or something to take on the power of the Ghost Rider, which is the only thing that can stop her. Meanwhile, in the framework, Mac doesn't want to leave Hope, but then she tragically disappears and Yo-Yo convinces him to come back to the real world at the last minute. So with the team about to be taken into government custody to answer for all their crimes that Ada and her LMDs framed them for, they decide to go to a diner and grab some dinner first, where they're confronted by agents who don't seem to represent any faction of the government we've seen on this show so far. And then in the Stinger, they're on a spaceship, or a space station, or a space prison, or something. They're not on Earth anymore, that's the point. So, will the tagline for Season 5 be Agents of S.W.O.R.D., perhaps? Is my hope of Abigail Brand appearing on the show finally a possibility? Well, this we'll find out next season. Okay, Season 4 finale here. I think where this episode falters a little bit is in showing the full scope of Ada's powers to terrifying effect. They hint that she has something like 24 different powers gleaned from various Inhumans in the framework, but we only see her use like 3 of them, which is probably due to budget restrictions. Not much you can do about that, I guess. Still, it's a little bit of a letdown that they build her up as being so unstoppable, and she doesn't really get to cut loose in a way that really demonstrates that. And also, the arcs for some of the relationships aren't necessarily capped off in a totally satisfying way. Now, I understand that's by design because these are things that are going to continue into next season, but with Fitz and Simmons and Coulson and May, it just felt like things were left hanging a little bit too much. With Fitz and Simmons, obviously, there are some things that they need to work through now, some conversations they need to have, but they don't get to have them. And since there's been another time jump now, confirmed by the producers, we might not get to see them have that conversation next season either. And the show has a history of doing that with Fitzsimmons, so that was a little irksome, especially after a season where they're finally a couple, but they seem to spend more time apart than together. And there are issues there that I want to see them discuss, and my concern is that we won't get to see them discuss these things. In contrast to Mac, who did a 180 in regards to how human the AIs are, Simmons ended up remaining pretty stubborn about not accepting them as real people, ultimately. She still refused to view Ada as a real person, just seeing her as a thing that needs to be put down and killed, which I think to some extent was rooted in jealousy, because that bitch done took my man or whatever. But yeah, it wasn't really acknowledged at any point. So Simmons kind of exposed herself as being a bit narrow-minded here, and she has some things that she's bottling up. And I worry that we're not going to get her to see her expunge those things. I really wanted to see that in this episode. They just didn't get to it. Wish they had, but I'm not really sure what they could have gotten rid of to make room for it. And then there's the Felinda stuff. Kind of seems like this whole season was one giant tease for that relationship that never got paid off. They were, not so subtly dancing around each other for a while. Then May gets kidnapped by Ada, and Coulson gets closer to the May LMD, thinking it's May. And then there's this big thing about getting the real May back. and then they get her back, and then they fall back into the mode they were in before for the most part. They kind of acknowledge that things between them have changed, but the closest they get to paying this off was May saying they should open that bottle of booze they've been talking about all season, and then Coulson saying, well, he already drank it. I've never shipped Coulson and May together, so this didn't bother me. But after 4 seasons, people who do ship it were probably hoping for more than that. I understand they're on a slow burn here, but at this rate, they'll hold out until like the last scene of the series finale and then give each other a peck on the cheek or something, and then the show just ends. And that'll be the big payoff. Where the episode excels, though, is in character and plot twists. The stuff with Mac and his daughter, some of the most heartbreaking stuff this show has done in a while. Yo-Yo goes in there to drag Mac back to reality, kicking and screaming if she has to, but then she sees him with his daughter, and she understands why he wanted to stay, and she can't bring herself to do it. And then you've got this man who earlier in the season was so certain that AIs were not real people, now willing to stay in this world that is vanishing, literally disappearing, because he doesn't want to leave one of them because she's real to him. And Yo-Yo choosing to stay with him because she doesn't want to abandon him either. It's really touching and sad, and for a minute I wasn't sure if any of them were going to get out of there. And that last scene with Mac and Hope, where she's terrified and she's crying because she doesn't want to die, and Mac can't do anything about it except hug her, and he's crying too, and then she disappears and he's just hugging nothing anymore. And he can't do a damn thing about it. That was brutal. I mean, I knew that moment was coming. I knew it was going to hurt, and it was every bit as heartbreaking as I knew it would be. I mean, at least Mac and Yo-Yo got out of the framework, but damn, that was one of the sadder and more poignant moments in the history of the show right there. And also poignant, Radcliffe, surprisingly, gets a nice little send-off at the end there, too. He kind of redeemed himself by helping them get out of the framework and then saving Yo-Yo later. And then he's just sitting on a beach, having a drink, raising a glass to Agnes, reminiscing about her, who was his motivation to build the framework to help her live a long and happy life before the whole thing got twisted all to hell by Ada and the Darkhold, and then he's just gone. Kind of poetic, really. But then back in the real world, we get Robbie meeting back up with the team. I'm not sure how Robbie knew where to find his charger. That just got kind of glossed over. But it is really cool having him back. He fit right in with the show instantly in the early part of the season, and in the early part of the season, and his absence was felt when he was gone. So it was nice to have him return finally and put the period at the end of the Darkhold story. There's some really cool team up action with him and Daisy versus the LMDs. Also, Robbie Ghost Rider versus Ada, and earlier in the episode was really cool too. But in the end, it's the writer they need, not Robbie. And this leads to the big trap. Yet the S.H.I.E.L.D. writers have always been really clever when it comes to these and executing them in ways that you don't see coming. But that's easy to do when you've got characters that are actually smart and don't have to act stupid to advance the plot. They know Ada wants the Darkhold. They know the writer is the only thing that can stop her. So she's going to be avoiding Robbie, and they know that she's got an obsession with Fitz, so she's going to be seeking him out. And so the trap is set. And here come the awesome plot twists. Right after we just saw Daisy walk into a room and shoot Talbot in the head, Ada gets the jump on Fitz and Simmons. Murders Simmons right in front of Fitz, and I knew something was weird about that because Fitz was acting a little off, but I couldn't put my finger on what exactly. I still jumped out of my seat for a second when it looked like Simmons was dead. And then she goes for the Darkhold, confronts Coulson, and then, bam, there's Simmons with a fucking machine gun. She knew that wouldn't stop Ada, but she just wanted to pump her full of bullets. I got a kick out of that line. That was funny. And then the big reveal that Coulson has become the Ghost Rider because they knew they couldn't get her in a room with Robbie, so they had to trick her. And that was set up in an earlier episode. We know the writer can switch host bodies if it wants to. And this was a fucking awesome moment. It's a huge surprise, but everything makes sense. Everything is earned. I do wish there had been more of a big climactic battle between them, but again, it probably wasn't in the budget. But there are interesting storyline implications here because they hint that Coulson had to cut some kind of a deal with the writer or the devil or something in order to be able to do this. And he's keeping that to himself for now. But Robbie says at the end, man, I don't envy you, man. So what does that mean? Did Coulson have to sell his soul? Is he going to hell when he dies now? We don't know. To be continued. So Ada is defeated finally, but in a way she also beat them because S.H.I.E.L.D. is now in shambles. Their base is destroyed, their fledgling public image is destroyed, they're wanted by the government. They're fugitives again, so Ada lost, but the team are still up shit creek, so she kind of won too. So it's kind of like in the Dark Knight, where Batman captured the Joker, but in pretty much every other way, the Joker won. And then that final twist. What the fuck happened there? I don't know what's going on. I don't know where they are, but I'm holding out hope that they're on a sword installation. So next season, it looks like the show is going into new territory again, and maybe they're going to be fighting aliens or cosmic level threats or something like that. I don't know. But it seems like the show is going to be reinventing itself again next season, which I appreciate. I like that the show never allows itself to become formulaic or locked into a pattern where they're just kind of doing the same thing or fighting the same type of threats over and over again. No, they're constantly going outside the box and pushing themselves to do different things. And in the current landscape of network comic book shows, that's kind of rare. Especially when you look at the CW shows that are, at the end of the day, very formulaic. Okay, it's a formula that works for them, but they're all kind of following a very similar pattern. Except Legends of Tomorrow, I guess. They kind of do a lot of bad shit and insane things. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm referencing Legends of Tomorrow as a positive? What the hell happened? Anyway, it's not important. So that was the S.H.I.E.L.D. finale. Great. There were a couple of relationship and character threads that didn't really get entirely wrapped up in a satisfying way. Probably because they just didn't have the time for it. But the major arcs and themes of the season were capped off really well here, and they set the stage up for a fresh, new direction next season. From Hydra to Inhumans to LMDs and the Supernatural to what? Outer space? Aliens? The cosmic? We don't know. That's part of the fun. It had some interesting social commentary, too. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that, with the Superior trying to influence the government to do what he wants and turn against the Inhumans, which are kind of an oppressed minority with the evil book of evil, and the government is kind of like, hey, come on, you guys can trust me. I wouldn't lie to you. I'm Russian. Gee, S.H.I.E.L.D. writers, what could you possibly be commenting on? It's so subtle, I have no idea. Really cool finale here. I think season 3 probably had the strongest finale they've done so far. But overall, I think season 4 was the most thought-provoking this show has been. The one that grappled with a lot of deep philosophical ideas and stuff that is kind of rare for television these days. Let's be honest. And again, it's not often that I can say that about a show like this. A lot of the time, these comic book shows are just focused on doing the flashy action sequences with not a lot of substance behind them. You know what show I'm talking about here. And they don't challenge you to use your brain, but the S.H.I.E.L.D. writers want to challenge their audience. They want you to think about stuff. They showed that this season. Good stuff. I had a lot of fun with season 4. There were a couple episodes here and there that felt a little bit fillery, but that last arc was really fucking strong, and it ended on a pretty tantalizing note. So are they in an asteroid belt? If they're in an asteroid belt, then they're not anywhere near the Earth, I'm pretty sure. So that was S.H.I.E.L.D., and I'm getting a fucking pinwheel here. Alright. Hang on. Fuck, don't do this to me. Up. Will experience. Okay, there may be some buffering. I'm going to continue for now, but we may there may be some glitches with the stream, so just bear with me. I'm gonna have to wrap this up fast because ever since I switched operating systems, when this tends to happen, I have to reboot. So that may be where we're headed. So let's get through these as quick as we can before the computer craps out. Let's see. AOS delivered again with a solid finale. Props to Henry Simmons delivering the final payoff with the Hope arc, and I give the show credit for not taking the easy way out to bring back Ward or Hope. Yeah, I was kind of hoping they'd bring Hope back, though. That would have been nice, although the show really doesn't do nice very often, let's be honest. So I was expecting her. I was hoping they'd bring her back, but I didn't expect it. Ever since Jeff Johns took over the DCEU, they have been more okay with the TV universe having characters that show up in the movies or Superman and Supergirl. Oh yeah, I guess they've had him up here a couple of times, haven't they? Has Supergirl been any good this season? I'm not watching it, but I hear a lot of people complaining about it on Tumblr, mostly people who don't like that Mon-El character. I think this was a really good episode, but I wish they had done a 2-hour finale last week. Seems like this episode would have played better that way. Yeah, I get that feeling too, but if they really couldn't do a 2-hour finale unless I guess they move the time slot back an hour, because if it's 2 hours, then it's going till midnight. It's going till midnight, and I guess that would cut into Jimmy Kimmel. Let's see. Fitz had bad acting when Ada was threatening Simmons. That let you know it was an LMD. If it had been Gemma, he would have gone nuts like that time he thought Ward was torturing her. Yeah, which makes sense in hindsight. At the time, I knew something was off about the way he was acting. I didn't really put it together. Plus, we never actually saw a Simmons LMD at any point this season, so it didn't really compute in my head right away. I guess Ada had that thing stored somewhere. Sucks about Powers Booth, though. What are your thoughts on Malik as a main villain, and are you satisfied with the way the show used him, or did you want more of him? Yeah, Powers Booth, that sucks. He was a good actor. I always liked him. Yeah, I enjoyed his performance last season a lot. I don't think he was like big bad material, but they didn't make him out to be one. He's kind of like a medium bad character. I thought he did a fine job with what they gave him. Didn't try to get more mileage out of the character than what was there. Had a nice little arc there. Starts as a guy who's like fiercely devoted to Hive, and then he finally meets Hive and realizes, oh wait, this is kind of horrifying. And it cost him his daughter, and then he's a broken man, and he betrays Hydra and gives S.H.I.E.L.D. tons of information, like all his information and stuff, and then he gets killed. But they gave him a nice little character arc there. I thought they used him well. It's a shame about him. Shame about Chris Cornell too. I found out about that today. Guy hung himself. God, that sucks. What do you think about Inhumans and S.H.I.E.L.D. getting the Friday 9 o'clock time slot this fall? I'm kind of depressed about that because ABC just kind of ensured that we won't be getting any crossover events between the two shows because S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't start until after Inhumans ends. Inhumans is getting 8 episodes, and S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't start until after that. So that means no big crossovers. I guess they could have like them guest star on the other shows, but we won't get like the big two-part crossover between both shows at the same time. And DC, I didn't enjoy the big crossover event in the DCEU, the big Heroes versus Aliens thing, but it paid off for them in the ratings because fans like that shit. So they just ensure that the Marvel shows won't be able to do that. ABC did, which I think is stupid. As for the Friday night, the Friday 9 o'clock time slot, well, it probably shows you that ABC has very little confidence in the Inhumans show, which is unfortunate. And also that season 5 will probably be the last season for S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, shows that on Friday don't really aren't really expected to perform very well. So maybe the expectations won't be very high. I guess anything's possible. Grimm survived on Friday nights for several years, but it's not a show of confidence. But like I said, 5 seasons, I'm happy with 5 seasons. That's a lot more than a lot of other a lot more than most shows get. And I think I said I read this somewhere. I think the producers said they had a 5-season arc planned when they started the show, so a 5-year plan. So if they get 5 seasons, they finish the 5-year plan. Maybe put the period at the end of the story they wanted to tell, finish it in a satisfying way. I could be happy with that. I feel like that's a good run, and if 5 seasons is where the show ends, I'm good. I feel like I got what I need. I won't feel like unfulfilled, like the show was killed before its time. So I'm good. It means I can stop worrying about the ratings now, which is nice. Okay, stream health is good. Once again, all right, cool. I feel bad about Madam Hydra. I hope she comes back next season or something. Ooh, I'm not sure she's coming back from where she's going. But Robbie did, I guess, so and nothing's bad. I guess it's not impossible. Talbot will turn heel, cause Daisy shot him in the head. How will he survive? I don't know, but that'll mess him up, and he will go after Daisy and S.H.I.E.L.D. Well, Daisy and S.H.I.E.L.D. aren't on Earth right now, so they gotta deal with that first. And Talbot's probably gonna be in a coma for a little bit. I rewatched the scene where he got shot. He got a bullet in the head, hereabouts. I have no idea how he survives that. They say, okay, he's alive, but he's in a coma. How is he not dead? Shouldn't he have his brains splattered across the wall or something? That is a stretch. I will say that. That is a fucking stretch that he's still alive. I'll take it because I fucking love Talbot, even when he's being kind of a putz. But yeah, he's going to be messed up. So they're going to have to find a way to explain that no, it wasn't Daisy, it was a robot. I don't know how they do that. Maybe they can't. Maybe that's the rest of the show. Maybe they're just going to be fugitives again. What's on KM's initials being short for kick me? I don't really have any. Thought they were short for Kevin Matthews. Coulson made a deal with the devil. It's going to be interesting to see what that is. Yeah, they're going to have to deal with that somehow. So I guess they're not done with the supernatural aspect. So will next season be like the supernatural and aliens instead of the supernatural and robots? It's really interesting storytelling combinations they could do with that. Magic and aliens. Let's see, Agents of S.W.O.R.D. sounds good, especially since the Inhuman series is starting soon, and since it's on the moon, they'll need it. Yeah, we got a little glimpse of Attilan, I guess, on the moon in that Inhumans teaser. How about that? We're actually going to see Attilan this time. I hope they got the budget to do that justice. I still think that kid's actress will return as Moon Girl. It would be cool to see Mac deal with an Inhuman girl that looks just like his framework daughter. Anything's possible. They used if Alfre Woodard can play 2 characters in the MCU, I guess that girl can. Let's see, props to Mallory Jansen. She was the MVP this year. Also, John Hannah as Radcliffe. He'll be missed, but I don't think we've seen the last of Ada, though. Well, I guess there could be another Ada bot walking around somewhere. I guess they had multiple Adas. Maybe it was only one that became real, and the others are still just robots, but still like functioning somewhere. But yeah, Mallory Jensen kicked ass this season. I said in the episode last week she was amazing. So yeah, it sucks that she died. I'd love to have her back in any capacity, but yeah, she won't have any trouble scoring a new gig. So my guess is she won't be free for very long. Just watched the first episode of Jessica Jones, and I wanted to know your take on that episode in particular. Okay. Stream health still good. Okay. First episode of Jessica Jones? All right. I don't know. I haven't thought about it in a while. I think it did a really good job of capturing the tone and the aesthetic of the comics, because I really enjoyed the original run of the Alias comics. I've got all the graphic novels back there, and yeah, I think Kristen Ritter was perfectly cast. Wasn't sure about her before I saw the show, but she won me over pretty quickly. And I love the twist at the end. Spoiler alert, when she saves the girl, but then the girl, she is reunited with her parents, and then she kills them and she murders them in the elevator because Kilgrave gave her that suggestion beforehand. It really paints Kilgrave as like a really crafty character and a really dangerous character, and I like I like the themes of Jessica dealing with PTSD and sexual abuse, because you'd think that's something they kind of glossed over in Daredevil. They didn't really address that too much, because you'd think if anyone would have PTSD up the ass, it would be Matt after all the shit he's been through. But it's not really the show for that. This is the Jessica Jones is the one where she's really dealing with that a lot, and I really like the music. I downloaded the whole musical score. I think Sean Callery did that, and he's the guy who scored 24 for all those seasons. So that was really good. I don't know if I have a whole lot of thoughts about the pilot in particular. I did talk about the whole show on a previous stream. If you want to go find that one. Yeah, it's a really good opening episode. Great ending. I think later on the show ran into some pacing issues and inconsistencies with the powers that kind of drove me nuts. But it was a really strong pilot. Really enjoyed it. I thought they didn't do enough with Madame Hydra, frankly, to show enough of her powers or her plan. I don't know. I think we got enough of her plan. I think we kind of figured out what it was. Her plan was to become human, and we saw that. After that, she was kind of improvising. But yeah, I wanted to see more of her powers too. I will agree that was a weakness of the episode, and I think that they probably planned to show more of her powers originally, but they said they did as much as they were budgeted for, and they had like in the original draft of the finale script, they had bigger stuff planned, but they didn't really have the money to pull it off, so they probably had to scale that back. I agree. I wanted to see more of her powers, because they hint that she's got like 24 powers, and then we only see like 3 of them. So that was a weakness. I will agree with you on that one. In order for Coulson to get the spirit of vengeance, he has to have something dark in his past. I wonder what that is. I don't know if it's something dark in his past necessarily. I think he just made a deal with something. Thoughts on Ambrose wanting to be in MMA for $500,000? It's the first time hearing about this. Does Ambrose have any kind of MMA background? Not that I know of. I don't think he could fetch $500,000. Sorry, Dean. My first thought was that if they have a new space base, maybe it's a way to tie into the Inhumans. I suppose. But we're going to be seeing the Inhumans first. And S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't come back until Inhumans is over. So maybe S.H.I.E.L.D. could use some of the same sets. Maybe they could visit Attilan at some point. I hope. Because I really want to see a crossover there. Radcliffe isn't dead, even if the other world is gone. I bet his mind still exists in there somehow, since he was uploaded completely into the computer. Yeah, but the computer was erased. The framework was erased. If you've got, like, a video game uploaded on your computer, and then your computer crashes, that video game is gone. I don't think they need to bring Radcliffe back either. I mean, I think he got a good send off there. I don't really see any reason to bring him back. I mean, I really like John Hannah as Radcliffe. I think he was kind of wrapped up there though. Thoughts on the controversy of what Orton said on the Indies? Haven't really given it much thought. People are gonna say shit. Think he's just kind of regurgitating stuff Triple H has said in the past. Come on. I hate when the weather gets warm. There's bugs everywhere. Frankly, though I'm tired of Simmons, I can't see her as much more than a cute girl who hangs out with Fitz, and while I don't complain about the former, the latter is kind of annoying now, to be honest. Yeah, you are not letting this go. You want Fitz to turn evil, and you want him to be like the Tinkerer or the Fixer or something. I really think you need to let this go, man. Okay, you don't like Fitz, you want him to turn evil? Well, he was evil in the framework. And he's got those memories in his brain now, so maybe they can do something with that next season. I don't know. I think you need to accept that that the real Fitz is a good person. I just think you need I think you need to accept it because I don't think he's going anywhere. Let Phil and May do their thing, Marvel, for fuck's sake. Yeah, I don't really have any interest in seeing that, but I feel bad for people who do, because they must feel like they're crossing the desert without a canteen. Did you see Nostalgia Critic's Suicide Squad review yet? Did he do like was that was that a Nostalgia Critic review or a Sibling Rivalry review? I don't know. I feel like I want to say yes, but I don't remember. I don't know, because I watch all the Nostalgia Critics when they come out, so I feel like I've seen it, but I can't seem to remember for some reason. I don't know. Thoughts on Vince being all the way in on Jinder Mahal? Yeah, I don't think anyone in America is going to care. It might get them some traction in India, where I suspect if Jinder Mahal has any fans, they're probably in India. But I think it's also going to have the side effect of driving viewers away in America. And, I saw the SmackDown ratings. They kind of sucked. I think they got, their lowest rating in 2017 so far, with Jinder Mahal getting pushed as the number one contender. Gee, what's causing the ratings slump? Could it be this guy that spent his entire career as a fucking jobber and is now suddenly getting pushed towards the world title? I think it's stupid. And I think it's going to backfire. I didn't get shit from Mac's daughter, just another perfect annoying little girl character. Nothing. I seen Clementine from the Walking Dead games. I seen better. Alright, agree to disagree on that one. Vince is writing more so for Jinder Mahal these days, according to Jinder himself. Yeah, I saw that. Like Jinder said, he rewrote the promo I had into like some generic anti-American thing. All right, fine. It's a cheap and easy way to get heat. It's also kind of lazy in my opinion, but whatever. Let's see. I freaking love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Is there any chance that the showrunners could bring back Ada to the show? She was absolutely amazing. I suppose so. Like I said, there seem to be multiple Ada units. So it's possible that the one who became human was just one of those units, and there could be other Ada bots that weren't accounted for. I mean, they could come up with a way to bring her back pretty easily, I think. Loved how Daisy's arc comes full circle, how she left the team over her wrongs in Season 3, only to have Fitz convince her to come back, yet Fitz wants to do the same thing, but she convinces him to stay. Yeah, it was nice how they tied that all together. That was nice, I like that. Did you see Stephen Amell on American Ninja Warrior? I didn't see the actual episode. I saw a clip of him doing like that obstacle course thing. Did really well. But I don't watch American Ninja Warrior, so no. I saw a little clip on YouTube though, or on Twitter, something. What did you think? What did you think of the Black Lightning trailer? I don't know. Looked a little bit I think the suit looks a little bit cheesy. I like that they seem to be breaking from the usual formula of hero with like a team and a base of operations from which they work out of to fight evil. They're going in a little bit of a different direction here. He's he's married. He's a family man, and comes out of retirement to fight like gang violence or something. It's a little bit of a different take, so I like that. I don't know. I don't really have any kind of real knowledge or affinity for the Black Lightning character in the comics, so I don't know. I'm not that excited. I might check it out, but it's not something that I'm really anticipating all that much. Of course, I don't really think I'm the target audience for that either. So who knows? Frankly, I miss Ward. I hope they find some way to bring him back, maybe an alien or a clone or something. Well, there are flashbacks and dream sequences and stuff, but again, it's like Radcliffe. Like the story kind of got wrapped up. So is there any real reason to bring him back other than I guess some fans would like it? I mean, if there's a good storyline reason to do it, I wouldn't object to having Brett Dalton back, but it's got to make sense within the story. There got to be a good reason to do it. Let's see. Episode was great. The ending was one hell of a cliffhanger, and I'm dying for the next season. 8 out of 10. Okay. I felt the Superior was a letdown this year. They build him up, and yet he ends up being Ada's bitch. Now it's him and an army of Daisy LMDs left. I don't know. I never really expected him to be the big bad, because the Watchdogs were always, I guess, like more of a speed bump than like the main adversary that they were facing. I do kind of wish that he put up more of a fight, because he fights Daisy twice, and she, in the first one, he just has a knife. It's like, this girl has powers. You know she can like take out powerful enough to take out a bridge if she wants to, and you've got a fucking knife. This was your plan, and okay, then she obliterates him, and then he comes back as an army of robots, and then he just gets taken down again. by Daisy and Ghost Rider. It was a cool team up with those two, but I would have liked him to be more of have a little more of a presence. I liked his performance and everything, but Ada was the real big bad there. I think he was like more of a means to an end, a way to facilitate certain storylines, which is kind of too bad because the Watchdogs had been a threat for a while. They were introduced last season, but again, they always kind of something that was just kind of going on in the background. They weren't really focused on that much, so I guess I wasn't really expecting him to have a bigger role, but I kind of wanted him to have one because. Yeah. Ward ain't coming back. Yeah, that's what they said last season, too. Yeah. Okay. What else can they do for Ward that does not repeat the same thread over and over again? Well, flashbacks, dream sequences, another alternate reality, I guess. I guess aliens or psychic entities that take on the form of something familiar to the team in order to make them feel either comfortable or uncomfortable, or to freak them out in some way. There are ways they can bring the actor back. It's science fiction, the comic book universe. There are plenty of ways. Let's see. I want Sarah Michelle Gellar to play Abigail Brand. Bring the Whedonverse full circle. I like SMG. I don't see her as Abigail Brand. For one thing, Abigail is supposed to be like a kind of a badass and a really strong authoritarian. I don't know if I'm describing that right, but like the head bitch in charge character. I don't see SMG playing that. I loved her as Buffy, but I don't see her as Abigail Brand. I think they need somebody else. Because what's SMG done lately? Has she done anything lately? I haven't seen her in anything since the Scooby-Doo movies. I didn't watch the Scooby-Doo movies, but I saw the trailers. Could the ending of the finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. be a setup for Inhumans? Yeah, possibly. We don't know exactly where they are. We know they're in outer space or something, and apparently Attilan is going to be on the moon, I guess. So there are ways those things could intersect there. Let's see. Favorite line from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Favorite line? All right, I'll give you two. My favorite comedic line was, she has told everyone your deepest, darkest secret. You must be so embarrassed. Just because the delivery, you just nailed that. Because he's so loud, and he's just making it worse. His Star-Lord feels like a jackass, and Drax is just pouring salt in the wound, and he's just laughing. It's like, she made you look stupid, you fucking loser. You must be so embarrassed, you funniest. That was the funniest line in the movie. Dramatically, I think one of my favorites was in Nebula and Gamora, where she said, "You were the one who had to win all the time. I just wanted a sister," because that's the one where you find out how, what's really at the root of Nebula, why she is the way she is. Because they were always pitted against each other, and Gamora kept beating her, and every time Nebula lost, Thanos would take a piece out of her and replace it with cybernetics or something. And you get the feeling, oh, that's why there's so much anger and resentment and hostility between these two. Because Nebula actually did think of Gamora as a sister, and Gamora was just trying to win and didn't really consider that. So Nebula seems very human in that moment. I grew to appreciate that character a lot because of that scene, so I like that one a lot. Let's see. Laugh my ass off if it's an 8 we're talking about country music. Yeah. Part of me wants to restart the older story arc with the original Inhuman. Part of me misses the days of Sky Ward. The original Inhuman? You mean Jai Ying and her people? Skyward could have been a thing if Ward didn't become a monster. Yeah, but he did. So... will S.H.I.E.L.D. be running parallel to Infinity War? Well, if Infinity War comes out next year, right? Or is that the year after? I don't know. I forget what the release date is for that one. Okay. The buffering stop. It should be. It should stop. Stream health is good. Have you ever listened to Audio Slave? A little bit. I preferred Cornell's Soundgarden stuff. Have you ever seen Two Broke Girls? Thoughts on Kat Dennings? That's random. Yeah, I've seen Two Broke Girls. I watched it for a while. Haven't seen a lot of the recent. I've seen some of the episodes online. I haven't watched it week to week in a while though. Not an incredibly sophisticated show, but it can be humorous. I think Beth Bears was the real star of that show though. Kat Dennings, she's hot. Her rack is incredible. Can be funny sometimes when she wants to be. Don't know what you, not sure what you want. Because they were taken Agents of Swords. As they were taken by Agents of Swords, since Phil didn't seem to be distressed or worried or anxious, which means you might just get your wish for Abigail Brand. Yeah, fingers crossed, yeah. Yeah, how Talbot survived that was absurd. They may as well have gone with his death, at least it would have made fucking sense. It was a little absurd, yeah. I'm not sure how you survive a gunshot wound like that. Also looked like the Talbot headshot, and while at first glance it looked dead center, if you look closely, you can see that he got hit just above his left eye, so the bullet went through the left hemisphere of the brain, which he could survive. Oh, really? Okay, I'm not a brain surgeon or a doctor of any kind, so I don't know about anatomy stuff, so I'll take your word for that one. I wonder if they'll do the thing from the comics where every race has a kind of inhuman, essentially. Is that a thing? Anything's better than a 10 p.m. slot. They lied. Younger viewers couldn't stay up that late. Well, I think most of their audience was coming from digital views for a while now. You know, between the ABC website and iTunes and whatever. I think they've always gotten a lot of their audience that way. I mean, it's like 9 p.m. is better than 10 p.m., but I mean, who stays home on a Friday night? Really? Everybody's going out. They're doing stuff. He could very well have brain damage. What is it with this show and fucking people's brains? Good point. They've done that a couple times now. See, Ada really scared the living shit out of me in episode 21. The performance of the actor was on point, gave me chills down my spine. I don't know anybody that could pull that off. What she did was absolutely amazing. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, I meant it when I said she should Oh, she ought to submit that episode for Emmy consideration. I mean, she wouldn't get recognized because comic book show, but it was that good. If she was on like if that performance was on a traditional drama series, so she'd absolutely be in awards contention. She claimed to have a plan to Schizoid Man. She said the book told her something, but it didn't go into what it said or what she was aiming for now. Oh, okay. All right. Nostalgia Critic Review. Oh, okay. I must have seen it then. I'm sorry, I don't really remember it. I have to go back and rewatch. Do you eat spicy food? I eat spicy chicken wings once in a while. You know, never is that. I liked her as Cordelia. Yeah, I don't think so. I think you need someone with a little who can pull off like the strict like disciplinarian thing a little bit better. Eliza Dushku, yeah, possibly. I could see Eliza Dushku as Abigail, maybe. I don't know if I'd call her perfect either. No. Let's see. Okay, I should probably think about wrapping this up because my throat's starting to get a little scratchy. Already, Guardians 2, easily one of the best sci-fi movies ever made. It's up there with Aliens and Empire, ironically all sequels. One of the best sci-fi movies ever made. I don't know if I'd go that far. I'd say it was a great movie. One of the best sci-fi movies ever made. It's got some strict some tough competition in that sense. And Terminator 2 also a sequel. Apparently the second shot is the one that hits. Damn. Favorite line was Yondu and Quill. The fight scene was my favorite line in the movie. Favorite line was Yondu and Quill. Well, he may be your father, but he wasn't your daddy. That line, that was good. Ever seen MST3K? I've seen parts. I've seen like bits and pieces of it. I kind of missed the boat on that one though. With Arrow moving to Thursdays and Inhumans and S.H.I.E.L.D. on Friday, do you think you'll be changing the day of the stream? Arrow's moving to Thursday, huh? I guess I'd have to. They change stuff on me. Yeah, I guess I'd have to change it. And did we just lose the damn stream now? No, it's still going. All right. Claire Kramer. Oh yeah, from Glory from Buffy. Keep mentioning all these Whedonverse actresses. No, I don't see Claire Kramer as Abigail. Has she done anything recently? I haven't seen her in anything. Let's see, Guardians isn't better than Empire or Aliens, whatever. It is as good as. I don't know, man. Aliens is one of the best sci-fi action movies ever made. I mean, they call that movie a classic for a reason. Now, will Guardians 2 have that kind of staying power? I don't know. It was a great movie. Was it a classic? Like Aliens? Or Empire Strikes Back? Who knows? I would hesitate to put it in the same category as those movies. Which is not a criticism. I'm just saying. It's a little more popcorn flick-esque than those movies are. Heard good reviews for Wonder Woman. All right, good. Hope that movie is good. Because DC DCEU really needs to get on the right track at some point. Aliens is brilliant. I can't argue with that. Yeah, I think the original Alien is still my favorite of those movies, though. To this day, I still think the original Alien is like one of the scariest movies ever made. That movie, facehugger scene that terrified me to my very soul first time I saw that. I still get goosebumps when I watch it to this day. So yeah, I think that's about it. All right, I gotta go take something from my throat because man, I got something stuck back there. So, all right. So I guess we'll call it quits tonight. I will talk to you guys most likely on Saturday. I don't think I have to work on Saturday, so we should be good for the stream at some point Saturday afternoon. Follow me on Twitter for updates for when the stream goes live. I always put an update on there. So that's at TheRealFK9. Follow me there on Twitter at TheRealFK9. I will talk to you guys on Saturday. Thanks for tuning in tonight. So we got one more, I think, of these, and then that'll be the season finale of this live stream. So yeah, to be continued. To see you next Thursday and this Saturday for the Impact stream, and hopefully I'll have seen Alien Covenant by then, and getting the pinwheel again. All right, I gotta wrap this up before we start buffering, and I gotta reboot the damn computer again. All right, I'll talk to you guys on Saturday. Peace out. And it is not letting me. Oh, wait, there it goes.